What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another one of RomesThings. In this video, we go on an epic week-long road trip up the world-famous Pacific Coast Highway in the state of California. Starting in Los Angeles, we'll make stops at some of the most popular sites and some places you cannot miss. So come join us as we go on a journey along California's stunning coastline. Located in Orange County, Newport Beach was our first stay on Highway 1. The city of Newport Beach was built around the large harbor, with a long peninsula along with two islands, Lido Isle and Balboa Island. The first thing we did was drop our bags off early at the hotel and get something to eat. We were starving. We decided on Cappy's Cafe, which was just next door to the hotel and is a local favorite. I almost always start a vacation off with a Bloody Mary. The portion sizes were great and the food and service was very good. The ambiance and staff were friendly as well. After the late breakfast, we headed out to check out Newport Beach's famous surf break, the Wedge. Known for its large and unpredictable waves, the Wedge's waves are formed when swells reflect off the adjacent jetty in the harbor entrance. Unfortunately, this day there were no such waves. We are at Newport Beach. Supposedly this is where the famous Wedge surf break is. As you can see, it is completely flat. Nothing going on, no one in the water. But this place is known to go off. Probably looking more towards the summertime. Newport Beach is a beautiful city. It is also one of the more affluent cities in California. I just love the boat harbor and all the water activities in the area. See some sailboats, little tour boat going out, fishing boat. The first leg of our PCH Highway 1 road trip, Newport Beach. Doing all this on my iPhone because I am an idiot and I left all my SD cards in my other bag at the hotel. And my phone battery was running low. After a long day of sightseeing and shopping, we ended our day at a place called Eat Chow, another cool little place just next to the hotel. The salmon risotto was amazing. The next morning, we began our trek north early. We made a brief stop in Huntington Beach, just north of Newport Beach, for a quick breakfast and to do a little shopping. The Northside Cafe was a cool little breakfast and lunch spot we found. The Mexican coffee was great and their banana bread was pretty good too. We wanted to keep breakfast light because we had another long day ahead of us. Back on the road, we started making our way past the famous beaches of Los Angeles, Long Beach, Redondo Beach, Hermosa Beach, until we made it to our next stop, the Santa Monica Pier. Actually made up of two adjoining piers, they were originally built in 1909 and 1916. The Santa Monica Pier contains a small amusement park with rides, concessions, and shops. Well known in American pop culture, it's been a popular location for movies and TV since the 1930s. Films like Forrest Gump and TV shows like 90210 have used the pier in many of their scenes. It apparently is popular even today with the social media crowd, as we saw some well-known TikTokers that day. It was early when we got there and the rides were not open yet, so we just did a little walking and some more shopping. Looking out over the pier at the beach, I can't help but think about the golden years of California's beach culture. The Beach Boys, Gidget, shooting the pier, must have been a great time. Just a few miles up the coast from the pier is the Getty Villa Museum. One of two Getty museums in the area, the other being the Getty Center in nearby Brentwood. It was built by oil tycoon John Paul Getty, who had a few coins in his pocket. Inspired by the Villa of the Papyri in Herculaneum, the Getty Villa Museum opened in 1974 and again in 2006 after a nearly decade-long renovation. The museum is dedicated to the study of ancient Greece and Rome and contains over 44,000 artifacts and antiquities dating as far back as 6500 BC. I am a big history buff, especially ancient Greece and Rome, so this was on my list of places to visit early. There are 4 different gardens in the villa, each containing plants native to the Mediterranean and known to have been cultivated by those ancient civilizations. The whole place is massive, and there are so many things to do and see. You can spend an entire day here. After getting our fill, we decided to hit the road again. From the museum, we headed up the sun-drenched coast of Malibu. We were lucky so far with the weather on this trip. Just the week before, California's central coast was battered by rain and strong winds. But now the sun was out and continued to shine on us on our way to our next destination, the city of Santa Barbara. Often called the American Riviera due to its Mediterranean-like climate, the city of Santa Barbara lies between the Santa Ynez Mountains and the Pacific Ocean. The weather here is so nice it was ranked the best weather city in America in 2023. And when we arrived, the weather was perfect. We were in Santa Barbara for 2 days, so that gave us plenty of time to see the many things that the city had to offer. We checked into the Hotel Milo, which was perfectly located just across from the beach, marina, and wharf. It was also just a short walk away from State Street, the main downtown area. The hotel itself was very nice, and all the staff were friendly and helpful with any suggestions and directions. If you plan on visiting and staying in Santa Barbara, I highly recommend staying here. After getting settled in our room, it was time to check out State Street and the downtown area. Just a short 10-minute walk from the hotel, State Street cuts through the main part of downtown Santa Barbara and is part of what is called the Funk Zone. Called this because of the eclectic mix of boutique cafes, galleries, and shops. The Funk Zone highlights Santa Barbara's contemporary, artsy personality. With the many cafes and eateries and the aroma of food, we started getting hungry. Finney's Craft House is a gastropub featuring contemporary American cuisine and an extensive beer list with many local breweries on tap. After doing a beer flight, I decided to go with the Liquid Gravity IPA. Yeah, I'm a hophead. The beer was great, as was the food. The Black Truffle Burger was excellent. The Amtrak train station also cuts through State Street and is served by 2 lines, the Coast Starlight and the Pacific Surfliner. We're hoping to go on the Coast Starlight in the near future. After a quick walk through more of downtown and to try to walk off those beers, it was time to head back to the hotel and rest up for another long day. Before heading out, we walked down the street for some breakfast. Located right on the corner of State Street and Cabrillo Boulevard, Janine's has been serving Santa Barbara for over 30 years. They're open for breakfast and lunch and serve up everything from complete meals to grab-and-go items like pastries, breads, and muffins, and coffee drinks. We ordered the English muffin sandwich, bacon and eggs, and sausage and eggs, and the food was really good. All fueled up, we were ready to explore the city. Built in 1929, the Santa Barbara County Courthouse is widely considered one of the most beautiful public government buildings and is a great example of a Spanish colonial style of architecture predominant in the many structures of the area. Added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1981, it was also declared a National Historic Landmark in 2005. Fully functioning courthouse, the building is also open to the public and offers tours inside and out. Its grounds are also a popular choice for weddings and other formal events and gatherings. After having been closed for some time due to maintenance and renovation, the clock tower is now open to the public and offers magnificent 360-degree views of the surrounding area. Located not too far from the courthouse is Mission Santa Barbara. Founded in 1786, the mission is sometimes referred to as the Queen of the Missions. The mission consists of several buildings, each built over the span of several decades. The current structure was completed around 1820. Some of the previous chapels were damaged or completely destroyed by earthquakes and had to be rebuilt. The mission grounds contain a gift shop, a museum, a friary, and a cemetery. Like the courthouse building, the mission was designated in the National Register of Historic Places and a National Historic Landmark in 1966 and 1960, respectively. There were many more things to see nearby, including a botanical garden, but the youngest in our party was getting tired of looking at very old things and was getting hungry and couldn't wait to visit our next destination. After grabbing a quick bite of Mexican food at Rudy's, we headed out to see things that were a bit more modern. Located right in the heart of the Funk Zone, the Moxi Museum is a contemporary museum dedicated to science and technology. All of the exhibits are interactive and allow visitors to play and discover the many different aspects of science, like physics and engineering. With 3 floors of exhibits, there are many things to keep your young ones engaged and entertained. Build your own race car and race it against others, learn about the science of sound, play atop the rooftop sky garden and learn about the weather, all while enjoying the amazing view. I'm not a kid anymore, but even I had fun with some of the exhibits. At the end of State Street, or beginning, depending on where you're coming from, is Stearns Wharf. A relatively large pier, it just recently celebrated its 150th anniversary in 2022. It's also one of the few piers in California you are allowed to drive on. There are a few historic shops and restaurants on the pier, and is the most visited attraction in the city. In addition to the shops and restaurants, the pier is also home to the Santa Barbara Museum of Natural History Sea Center. It was getting late and we were going to visit another aquarium in a few days, so we decided to skip it. Besides, I wasn't in the mood to look at sea life. What I really wanted to do was eat it. The Santa Barbara Shellfish Company is the last establishment on the wharf, and I heard great things about the place, like its great service, fresh food, and wonderful location. I knew I wanted to eat some lobster at some point in this trip, so what better time than now, right? The spiny lobster was their special, and it was almost 3 pounds of absolute deliciousness. It was amazing, as was the price. But I had to do what I had to do. Oh, and I also had some oysters with it. On a side note, I was on a strict diet prior to this trip, but as you can see so far, I put that on hold. Santa Barbara is a great city, and we enjoyed our time there. It's got a nice mix of old and new, the weather is almost always nice, and there's a lot of things to do and see to satisfy anyone's liking, whether you're living here or just visiting. What's going on, everyone? We are heading to our next stop, the city of Solvang. We bid farewell to Santa Barbara, loved it out there. Just up Highway 1 from Santa Barbara lies the quaint city of Solvang. The first thing you'll notice as you enter the city is the European, specifically Danish-style architecture of many of the buildings. Billed as the Danish capital of America, Solvang's Danish origins can be traced back to 1911, when a group of Danish immigrants purchased 9,000 acres and began a colony to escape the brutal Midwestern winters. The streets are lined with Danish flags and European symbols and themes, and it does feel like stepping into a European village. Paula's Pancake House is a popular breakfast and lunch spot and is known for their Danish-style pancakes. Similar to crepes, these pancakes are thinner and have crispy edges. The food was fresh and the service good, but because it was breakfast and busy, it was very loud in the restaurant. Their sister restaurant, the Belgian Cafe, is just down the street and specializes in French crepes, which is what my daughter really wanted, so we went there for lunch. Mornings in Solvang are especially pleasant because of the smell of fresh baked pastries wafting in the air. There are literally dozens of bakeries in this small area, each with their own decadent specialties. There are also several beer gardens and taverns serving up traditional Danish and European fare. Oh, and lots of souvenir shops. There was also a cool motorcycle museum I wanted to visit, but they were closed during the week, so be sure to plan ahead. Solvang is a charming city that offers a blend of Danish culture, food, and history, and makes for a great destination for any vacation. Just outside of Solvang is Ostrichland, a very popular destination in the area. It is an ostrich and emu farm with over 100 ostriches and emus. We are here about to feed some ostriches. We're at Ostrichland just outside of Solvang. We've got some feed here. Gonna feed some of these bad boys. All right, come with me. Admission is only $7 for adults and $3 for children. If you want to feed the birds, which they encourage and the birds are actually trained to do, then it's an additional $1 for a feed bowl. So some of these guys are big fellas. You got males and females. The males are the bigger ones, of course, but they have the darker feathers, also with the red legs. The females are of a browner, lighter brown color. They have brown legs. But yeah, some of these guys are hungry. They can be very aggressive, and they want to grab that bowl right out of your hand. So 2 hands, and keep an eye on them. Oh, and they also can bite. So apparently some of the young males here are ready to mate. There was one earlier trying to mount a female, and I don't know if it's a mating call, but they make a deep bellowing sound. I don't think you can hear it here, it's kind of windy, but they make a deep bellowing sound. I guess that's their mating call. The staff was friendly and helpful and answered any question that I had. There's also a gift shop you can pick up some souvenirs from your visit. We had a blast in Solvang and Ostrichland. But we're soon back on the road to our next stay, the beachside city of Cambria. This serene seaside village is part of San Luis Obispo County and is located midway between Los Angeles and San Francisco. Known for its natural beauty, the town is nestled amidst lush forests, rolling hills, and rugged coastline. Situated just across from this coastline is the Sea Otter Inn. The hotel is very charming and is just one of several accommodations along this stretch of beach known as Moonstone Beach. After checking in early, I took a walk along the beach. There's actually a boardwalk that stretches all the way down the beach to Moonstone Beach Park. On the way into Cambria, we passed by the town of Morro Bay and the city of San Luis Obispo. We headed back down south now to visit those two places. Known for Morro Rock, a large rock outcrop that actually is a large volcanic plug that stands guard to the entrance of the harbor, Morro Bay is a sleepy coastal town with a laid-back vibe. Popular with surfers and other water sports enthusiasts, the harbor also offers fishing and sightseeing adventures. There were actually some swells coming in, and I managed to capture some footage of some surfers that were out that day. While doing some research on the area for this trip and video, I discovered that Morro Bay was the landing spot for the first Filipinos in the New World. I'm Filipino, so this of course was very interesting to me. As part of the Spanish Manila galleon trade, many Filipinos were crew members aboard these ships. And it turns out that in 1587, Filipinos aboard a Spanish galleon from Macau en route to Acapulco made landfall at this spot for repairs and provisions. So there's a little history lesson. Filipinos were in America before the Pilgrims. Pretty neat. Often referred to as SLO or SLO, San Luis Obispo is a vibrant city just 20 minutes away from Morro Bay. Home to the California Polytechnic State University, otherwise known as Cal Poly, the university adds a youthful energy to the city.
Alright, we are here at San Luis Obispo's Gum Alley. Looks really old. Looks like hasn't been visited in a while. I'm not sure if this one or Seattle's is older, but yeah, I think Seattle's is bigger. This might be older, just by the looks of it.
San Luis Obispo offers a historic downtown area filled with shops, restaurants, galleries, and historic buildings. The city has much to offer, but unfortunately it was getting late and we were only in Cambria for one night. After a quick bite in the city, we headed back to the Sea Otter Inn and fell asleep to the sound of crashing waves. We had the most driving to do on this trip the following day. The hotel we stayed at does offer breakfast delivered right to your room. You order what you want the night before and they put it in a basket and leave it hanging on your door the next morning. It's kind of cool actually. Unfortunately, we had to check out very early the next morning. You'll find out why a little later. We set out north on Highway 1 to the area known as bigsur. Starting from the town of San Simeon, just north of Cambria, stretching 90-some miles all the way to the Carmel Highlands, Big Sur is a rugged and breathtakingly beautiful region along California's central coast. Renowned for its dramatic cliffs, pristine beaches, towering redwood forests, and stunning coastal views, Big Sur has been called the longest and most scenic stretch of coastline in the United States. Millions of visitors from around the world drive this stretch of highway annually to witness its extraordinary natural beauty. San Simeon is the home to Hearst Castle, the extravagant and historic estate of publishing tycoon William Randolph Hearst. We actually visited there over 10 years ago, but this time we didn't have the time and so we passed on it. If you do have the time, I would suggest taking a tour of the place. It really is beautiful. Our first stop that morning was a place called Ragged Point. Here we are, folks. We have made it to the Ragged Point Inn and Resort at the famous Portal to Big Sur. Shaped like a giant donut, the Portal to Big Sur is a public art piece by artists Aaron Appel and Abe Toke. Positioned to frame the perfect photograph of the rugged coastline of Big Sur, no one really knows when the structure was erected. So it looks like they even have a bar out here. I'm sure when it's nice, they have events out here. In addition to the inn and resort, there is also a restaurant at Ragged Point, all offering magnificent, breathtaking views of the Big Sur coastline. We are going to turn around from here, head back down south. Highway 1 is closed just north of here due to rock slides and some maintenance. If you look down there, there's a trail that leads down to the beach. We're running short on time. We got some other stops to make, so I don't think we're gonna do that today. But enjoy this view, folks. This is amazing. This is beautiful. Again, Ragged Point with the portal to Big Sur. Just north of Ragged Point, Highway 1 was and still is closed due to maintenance and repairs. The recent storms, of course, didn't help either. From what I remember seeing, that part of Highway 1 will be closed until September 2024, so be aware. I'll add a link to that information in the description. The road closure was not a surprise. We had known about it before our trip, which is why we left so early that morning. The plan now was to head back south and stop at some of the places we passed. The first was the Piedras Blancas Lighthouse. Unfortunately, they were not open yet, so I just got some photos and video from the road. That did mean we could spend more time at the next spot, and my daughter couldn't have been happier. Less than 2 miles from the lighthouse is the Piedras Blancas Elephant Seal Rookery. A birthing and breeding ground for the northern elephant seal, it is run and maintained by the Friends of the Elephant Seal nonprofit group. Since 1992, when the first pup was born there, the colony has grown to some 25,000 seals along this stretch of beach. If you're interested in finding out more about the Friends of the Elephant Seal and the good work they do, I'll put a link in the description below. We bid farewell to our new blubbery friends and hit the road again. If the highway wasn't closed, we would have just continued north from here into Big Sur and the many stops along the way. The detour also added over 2 hours to our travel time. And sure, while this was disappointing, what are you gonna do, right? Besides, the detour wasn't all that bad. To continue north, we needed to head south on Highway 1 for a bit, then head east on State Route 46 towards the city of Paso Robles. Instead of driving along the coast, you are greeted with the verdant hills and valleys of Central California's ranch and wine country. While not as famous as the Napa and Sonoma valleys to the north, this area is also known for its Mediterranean-like climate and rich fertile soil. Renowned for its Zinfandel grapes, the region also grows 25 other varieties and is home to over 200 wineries. Due to our time constraints, however, we could not afford to make any stops in the area. We were trying to get to our next destination before noon. Driving through this beautiful countryside was enough. We still had not eaten yet, so once we were in Paso Robles, we stopped by for a quick breakfast at a place called Brunch, and then headed north on the 101 freeway. It was time to make up some ground. There were still many places we wanted to see in Big Sur, but now, instead of coming up from the south, we had to go back down, and that meant getting to our next destination first, the city of Carmel by the Sea. Once we hit the town of Salinas, we turned west towards Carmel. We managed to get checked in early at the Carmel Mission Inn, but we're soon back on Highway 1, this time heading south. We only had that afternoon to explore almost this entire stretch of Big Sur. We unfortunately decided to cancel a few stops that we planned. The 3 places that remained were a must-see for me. The first was McWay Falls. Located the furthest south from where we were on Highway 1, what would have taken us maybe 30 minutes to get to from Ragged Point earlier that morning took us 2.5 hours with the detour. The drive to the falls took us past some of the most breathtaking views this entire trip. The road also becomes a bit windy and can be a bit nerve-wracking for some though, as there are sheer 1,000-foot drop-offs just outside your window. If you are afraid of heights or have a bit of vertigo, just drive slow and focus on the road. The falls are located within Julia Pfeiffer Burns State Park. A viewing point is accessible by a short hike at the park's entrance, which takes you into a tunnel and out to a walkway where you can view the falls. Parts of the trail were closed, so the viewing area was a bit crowded. Again, I couldn't help but think if we had gotten here this morning, it wouldn't have been as crowded, and maybe the lighting would have been better. But oh well, it was beautiful nonetheless. Some say the view of the falls from the road is better, but there's no room for parking. There is a small parking area further down the road, but you'd have to hike back to the falls. We decided to just pay and park in the park. Paying also gets you a state park permit, which we used later that day to enter another park. So it was a good decision. During high tide, which it was, the falls are what is considered a tide fall, as it empties directly into the ocean. During lower tides, it falls onto the beach below. Our next stop was one of the most iconic images of Big Sur, Bixby Bridge. With its pleasing design and stunning backdrop, it has been featured in movies, TV, and ads the world over, and is one of the most photographed features on the West Coast. At the time of its completion in 1932, it was the tallest single-span arch bridge in the world, and still is one of the tallest today. It took a little over a year to complete and required 45,000 sacks or 6,600 cubic yards of cement. The bridge was retrofitted in the mid-90s to address vulnerabilities during seismic activities, which, of course, California is known for. There is parking available at the bridge on the north end, but nothing really on the south end. There's a small strip of dirt on the ocean side to park in, but also there's some parking on the cliff side along Coast Road. Be aware it can get very crowded during peak times, however. Some of the vista points further south on the highway also offer spectacular views of the bridge from a distance. Considered one of the richest marine habitats in California, the Point Lobos Natural Preserve is located just south of Carmel by the Sea. There is an entrance fee of $10 per vehicle, but because we had paid for the permit earlier at Julia Pfeiffer Burns Park, we were able to use it here. Once called the greatest meeting of land and water in the world, the area is absolutely beautiful and a marvel to behold. The waters off its coast offer visitors a rich and diverse ecosystem of plant and animal life, all of which are state and federally protected. There are also numerous hiking trails offering spectacular vistas around every corner and over every ridge. You could spend an entire day or more here. Camping is prohibited though. It is really windy, guys. We are here at Point Lobos State Preserve. Out on the point here, it's super windy. I don't think you can even hear me. I'll see what I can do with the audio. Although we did have to cancel some of our destinations today, we felt fulfilled. We saw enough of Big Sur and its natural beauty to create some great memories. The trip and all the driving was beginning to wear us out. Luckily, we were in Carmel for 2 days, so we could slow things down a little. And the Carmel Mission Inn was a great hotel and a much-deserved relaxing stay. We made it back to Carmel by sundown with just enough energy to get ready for a nice dinner. Located close to the hotel, Grassing's is the namesake restaurant of award-winning chef Kurt Grassing. A member of the chain des Rotisseurs, the oldest and largest food and wine society in the world, it has won numerous accolades and has been featured in several culinary publications. It was the priciest meal of our entire trip, but well worth it. The Wagyu beef and local seafoods were amazing. The following morning, after a nice breakfast at the hotel, we headed out to Carmel's famous 17-mile drive. This scenic stretch of road takes you through the community of Pebble Beach, including its famous golf course. The road also leads into Pacific Grove on the Monterey Peninsula and is dotted with scenic outlooks with stunning vistas such as the Lone Cypress, Bird Rock, and Pescadero Point. There is an admission fee of $12 per vehicle at all the 3 gates that lead into the drive. You can get reimbursed if you make purchases at any of the restaurants or are a guest at any of the golf resorts. Here at the actual Pebble Beach. We're doing the 17-mile drive. We just started. We came in through the Carmel gate, and this is our first stop, Pebble Beach. Beautiful drive through the peninsula of Carmel, Carmel by the Sea. We're actually driving through Pebble Beach Golf Course. We drove past the Golf Pro Shop and just checking out the sights. But this is Pebble Beach. The Lone Cypress is a Monterey cypress that is believed to have been there since 1750. Standing alone atop a granite overlook, the tree is one of the most photographed in North America.
Here at the Cypress Point Lookout. There's a chain link fence kind of in the way of some shots. I managed to get some shots over the fence with my selfie stick. But yeah, this is the Cypress Point Lookout. I'm not sure which hole, but it looks like a signature hole here. And with this wind, this would be crazy. I think I'd go through a couple sleeves of balls here.
After finishing the 17-mile drive, we headed to Monterey and Cannery Row. This street was once the home of several sardine canning factories. The original name of the street was Ocean View Avenue, but in 1958, it was officially renamed Cannery Row in honor of author John Steinbeck and his novel Cannery Row, which was set in Monterey during the Great Depression. Many of the historic buildings of the era still stand and have been converted to hotels, restaurants, and shopping malls. The Cannery Row Monument pays tribute to John Steinbeck and the many other people that were vital in helping make Cannery Row a vibrant and historical destination for visitors from around the world. After a quick lunch overlooking Maccabee Beach, we walked over to the world-famous Monterey Bay Aquarium. Located at the north end of Cannery Row, the Monterey Bay Aquarium is celebrating its 40th anniversary as a world leader in the education and conservation of marine plant and animal life. had a blast seeing all the different animals. The place is huge. You can spend hours without even seeing everything. I especially love the jellyfish and the penguins. We were exhausted, but still had one more place to visit. Just south of Cannery Row is Old Fisherman's Wharf. Built in 1870, the wharf was used to load and unload the fishing boats in the area, and was also an active fish market until the 1960s, when it became mostly a tourist attraction. The wharf is lined with many souvenir shops, art galleries, candy stores, and many fine restaurants, each and every one vying for your business and appetite. We decided on Cafe Fina for dinner, and we weren't disappointed. The octopus appetizer was fabulous. I really love the feel of old marinas and wharfs. It reminds me of when I lived in San Francisco and Seattle. I would spend my mornings walking through the piers and wharfs. Our trip was coming to a close, and we had just one more night in California. The next morning, we were back on Highway 1 heading north. We made our way past towns like Castroville, Moss Landing, and Watsonville, all lining Monterey Bay. We originally had plans of stopping in Santa Cruz to visit their famous boardwalk, but most of the rides were closed that day, and we were running short on time. So we decided to skip it and hopefully visit it in the near future. We had another long drive ahead of us. We were heading to the bay. We did plan a few stops along the way. The first was the Swanton Berry Farm. Hey everyone, we made it up past Santa Cruz. We skipped Santa Cruz actually, we went by it. We were running out of time, we had to make it up north. We did stop over at the Swanton Berry Farm, look at some fresh berries, maybe grab us some treats, some sweets. But yeah, this is a cute little place. Saw it in a couple of videos. Josh over at Through My Lens highly recommended this place. Came by here with his pops. So we're gonna go check it out, grab some treats. Cute little place. Little picnic benches and some areas that you can just walk around and enjoy. We got a great view of the ocean behind me. So come join us as we check out tour Swanton Berry Farm. Alright, so we just left the Swanton Berry Farm. I picked up a Marion Berry Cobbler. We also got some chocolate covered strawberries and some jam. So we'll see how they are. I'm sure they're delicious. But yeah, Swanton Berry Farms, cool place.
Turn left onto Pigeon Point Road.
Cool place, stop by if you can. The Pigeon Point Light Station is just up the highway from the Berry Farm, and was our next stop. Earlier in our trip, we had a chance to visit the Piedras Blancas Lighthouse in San Simeon. Unfortunately, it was closed when we got there. We weren't going to miss this opportunity. Unfortunately for us, it was open. Perched atop a rocky cliff, the Pigeon Point Light Station has been guiding ships and mariners since 1872. Standing 115 feet tall, it is one of the tallest lighthouses in America. The lighthouse itself is currently closed to the public for repairs, but the rest of the structures in the park remain open. There is a small museum located in the historic Fog Signal Building that is dedicated to the history of the light station and the surrounding area. It also houses the original lens from the lighthouse. The lighthouse has since been updated to use a modern LED beacon. There is also a hostel located on the premises, and while we were there, a group of school children were camping there while they learn about the light station, the surrounding areas, and the wildlife. I'll provide a link for the Exploring New Horizons outdoor school program in the description. Our next stop was the charming coastal city of Half Moon Bay. Located in San Mateo County, this picturesque beach and surf town has a laid-back vibe, much like Morro Bay we visited earlier. Places like Half Moon Bay State Beach, Pillar Point Harbor, and the nearby Purisma Creek Redwoods Open Space Preserve offer numerous outdoor activities, including surfing, fishing, and hiking.
What's going on, everyone? We are here at Half Moon Bay, just outside of the world-famous Maverick Surf Break, one of the holy sites of big wave surfing.
Many people don't know that Half Moon Bay is the home to the legendary big wave surf break Mavericks, made famous from movies and pop culture.
Yeah, just beyond that jetty is the world-famous Mavericks Surf Break. But we're heading back to the car, head up north.
We continued our way north, again finding ourselves driving past stunning vistas and beautiful beaches until we were in the city of Pacifica and Taco Bell.
Alright, we are here at the Taco Bell at Pacifica.
Dubbed the most beautiful Taco Bell in the world, it is located right on Pacifica State Beach and offers some amazing views, all while enjoying a chalupa on their outdoor patio. They even have a walk-up order window for surfers.
It's an absolutely gorgeous day here at the beach. Some waves out there, little offshore winds, a little choppy, a little not that clean, but it's nice out. Again, this is the Taco Bell out of Pacifica.
We're not big fans of Taco Bell, so we just sat there and enjoyed the view for a while. Back on the road, we soon found ourselves entering the city by the bay, the Golden City, San Francisco. We visited there back in 2015, and it always brings back fond memories of when I used to live there. We were only passing through this time, however. Our destination lay beyond the city, beyond their famous Golden Gate. About an hour and a half north of San Francisco is the Point Reyes National Seashore. This 70,000-acre park preserve is home to some of the most photographed places in California, and we were visiting two of them. There are a couple ways to get there. We took the longer, more scenic route. The meandering drive along Highway 1 takes you through narrow switchbacks, offering spectacular views of the Pacific Ocean as you drive past places like Muir Beach and Stinson Beach. There were so many places to stop and soak in the beautiful weather and the views. We kept driving, however. I had realized that there was no way we could have fit everything we wanted to do in the time we had on this trip. After a quick bite to eat in the seaside town of Bolinas, we headed into the Point Reyes National Seashore. The first of our two stops was the Cypress Tree Tunnel.
We are here at one of the most photographed sites in California, the Cypress Tunnel in Point Reyes National Seashore. If you take a look behind me, this tunnel is a cypress grove. that stretches all the way down to the end of the road.
At the end of the road is the historic RCA Coast Receiving Station. Some of us didn't want to walk all the way down though.
We got one more stop here at the Point Reyes National Seashore, and that's checking out the Lighthouse.
Our next stop was at the end of the scenic Sir Francis Drake Boulevard. Surrounded by water on three sides, the road takes you past beautiful meadows and pastures as farm animals graze against the stunning backdrop.
Look at this amazing view, guys. I mean, how are you going to beat that? We're at the Point Reyes Lighthouse lookout, overlooking Northern California and this amazing stretch of beach behind me. California truly is one of the most beautiful states. There's so much to see. This view is amazing. This beach stretches for miles.
As soon as we got there, it felt like we had to leave. We never made it out to the lighthouse and just spent the time at the lookout area soaking in the view and the sunshine. Looking back now, it's a good thing we left though when we did, because we would have missed our next stop completely. California is home to the world's tallest trees, the redwoods. The original plan was to see them further south at either Henry Cowell Redwood Park or Big Basin State Park, but because of the Big Sur detour earlier, that plan was changed. There are many other places to see giant redwoods, however, and we were very close to one of them. Muir Woods National Monument is located on Mount Tamalpais in Marin County, and is 554 acres of protected lands. 240 of those acres consist of coastal redwood forests. With its close proximity to large urban centers, it is a popular destination with local visitors as well as from around the world. We arrived at Muir Woods with just an hour to spare before closing. I would have loved to stay in the park a while longer. There are numerous hiking trails that can take you through the redwoods and along the creek.
What's going on, everyone? Rome here. We made it to Muir Woods with an hour to spare before they close. We wanted to check out some of these redwoods before the end of our trip. We were cutting it close for a little while, but we did manage to make it in to the park.
We eventually had to leave and made our way south toward the city of Tiburon. Located on the Tiburon Peninsula, this charming town boasts stunning views of San Francisco Bay, Angel Island, and the Golden Gate Bridge. After checking in at the lodge at Tiburon, we ventured out to explore the vibrant downtown area. We found this quaint corner with shops and restaurants. One of these restaurants was called Salt and Pepper. The menu looked great, so we found a table and enjoyed the lively ambiance. The food was really good, as was the service. There are many things to do in Tiburon, like take a ferry out to Angel Island or to San Francisco. The downtown area also offers numerous art galleries and boutique shops. At this point of our trip, however, we were exhausted and just headed back to the lodge for a good night's sleep. We started our last morning in California by visiting the city of San Rafael for a quick breakfast at the Grapevine. This charming cafe offers an expansive menu in a hip downtown location. The crepes were great, but service was a bit slow. We eventually began the long drive up to Sacramento to visit some family and jump on a plane back to Vegas. We didn't really have any time for any stops, but made the drive worthwhile by taking us through Northern California's famous wine country. This is where our story and journey ends. We had a great time traveling California's Pacific Coast Highway, and we left the Golden State with fond memories and experiences. A week was definitely not enough time to see all the places and do all the things we had planned. Places like the Santa Cruz Boardwalk, Henry Cowell Redwood State Park, Muir Beach, and numerous other spots that dot Highway 1 that we missed will be waiting for us on our next visit. If you have never driven the Pacific Coast Highway, you are missing out on a truly unforgettable experience. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching and following us on our journey on California's Highway 1. If you do plan on doing this drive, I hope this video helps with some ideas for your own journey. Thank you again for watching another one of RomesThings. Please don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and notifications buttons. It would really help. Stay tuned for more of my upcoming videos, and remember, go places, see things, and do stuff.